Mustard Seed helps people get back on their feet who have nothing, and it is a wonderful organization run by Carol Kane, and we have been proud to be affiliated with them for many years now.
It means a lot to me because we're silly through the entire year. We act stupid and goofy and do on-air bits, and the Mustard Seed allows us to, earn some cash for these kids, give it to the organization, and really hook up some of these families.
Of course, Christmas means that time of the year when you really reflect on people in need and trying to help out those people as well.
The mustard seed means just a little tiny mustard seed can grow and be this huge thing, and that's exactly what Carol Kane has done. She is an angel on earth, no doubt in my mind. You've probably heard that already, but she definitely is the angel on earth, and she's helped out a lot of people, and now we get to help her out by doing a play.
Excuse me, Savannah, keep it down a little. It's camera time here, all right? Professional actor. Hi, all right.
I love this event. I think it's so much fun. It brings the magic of Christmas all in one night.
On a Monday, I'm gonna love you. On a Tuesday, I'm gonna hug you. On a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'll love you, baby.
This is my son, Josh. He's gonna be Pork Chop, that's his name, and this is Snoogie over here.
Snoogie.
Snoogie, and I'm
We own meat shop.
And I'm Chief, and we're about to go on stage here, raise some money for toys. Oh, I got it right in my eye. Raise some toys for Mustard Seed.
On a Wednesday, teacher fine. Come Christmas time, baby, you're gonna be mine. I'll be where you going? I'll be your 7 days. I'll be your 7 days.
It's like the only time of the year where we all get to like hang out and kick it. So it's always a good time. It's a lot of fun, and we'll just be waiting to see who messes up. Won't be me.
It's only my second year, but obviously last year I was one of the ghosts. They got a chance to experience me and the essence of Shannon Burke, and obviously this year there was no choice but to make me the star of the show. So that's why I'm here. I've been classically trained as an actor.
Sunday, I'll love you, babe. I'm going working, working till born, working out, working my working for the love that I see. Say for you, baby, 7 days a week. On a Monday, calling to your door. On Tuesday, all I know now.
The first time I did it, I remember I had my script there, and I thought it would be better if I looked up at the person I was talking to, and I looked back down, and the words were all moving around, swimming around. Worst feeling in the world. Ever since then, I learned the value of a highlighter, and I rarely take my eyes off the page. So every time you get those butterflies, but you get through it, and you're just like, whew.
I'm glad I only have one line. It's less chance of me messing up. I get to sit back and watch everybody else do their thing.
Welcome to Hard Rock Live and the 8th annual Real Radio Christmas Carol. I know a number of you have been here before. How many are new this evening? Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you taking time. I know this is a very busy time for all of us, and the fact that all of you sitting here would take the time to help the Mustard Seed when I know you've got a million things going on not only means the world to us at the radio station and Carol Kane, but means the world to a lot of families in our community. And so for that, we applaud you. We have a lot going on tonight. There are some surprises, a few changes. So shall we begin? I am very pleased this year to welcome back to the Real Radio Christmas Carol, Wanzie and Doug.
What's wrong with you?
Where's your costume?
I tried it on backstage. It didn't quite fit.
You couldn't fit into your Santa costume.
You know it was another elf costume. I just decided I'd like to dress up for a change. I always come scabby. It looks all right, doesn't it, folks? Thank you. Thank you.
So now I'm out here looking like a fool.
Well, if you said so, I guess so. Whose bright idea was it to put us at the top of the show this year? I think Catherine Brown was just back there thinking, let's start things off with a bang this year and throw the queers to the rednecks right at the top of the show. Anyway, we're glad to be back on the air. We're glad to be back here with you all again tonight. Every year, we prepare something that we think is absolutely fabulous, and then we present it, and then you people write letters of complaints to the radio station. Mostly those of you with children in tow, you silly, silly people. So this year, we decided to play it safe. We haven't prepared anything. We're just going to stand up here and have a little impromptu conversation about how we prepared for the holidays, sort of a Martha Stewart-like glimpse into the fascinating lives of Wanzie and Doug. How? Think that sounds innocuous enough, don't you, Doug?
It sure does, Michael.
All right, then let's get started. I have no effing idea how to start such a thing.
Oh, I know, Michael. Why don't you ask me one of the stupid questions that straight people are always asking each other this time of the year?
That's a good idea, Doug. Okay. Hey, Douglas, have you gotten your Christmas tree yet?
Why, yes, I have, Michael. I bought my imitation tree today at Walmart.
Walmart? What the hell are you doing shopping at Walmart?
Don't start with that crap, Michael. I have a limited budget. It is the cheapest place to buy trees.
Yeah, made by 6-year-olds, slaving away 7 days a week under death-defying circumstances in a Chinese sweatshop.
They don't even celebrate Christmas in China, Michael. Those kids have nothing to live for.
Douglas, that is terrible. Besides, there's no reason that you have to be spending a lot of money on an imitation tree in the first place. You should just get a real tree like mine.
Well, they're even more expensive.
Not if you get one at Turkey Lake Park after midnight. They're not, no.
You stole your Christmas tree.
It's not stealing if you get it from a city park. It's public property.
So why didn't you go during the day?
Why I didn't go during the day?
Yeah.
Because people get really nervous when you walk by a playground with a chainsaw.
It's funny, Michael, I can't even picture you with a power tool.
Oh, believe me, Douglas, I've got one, but I don't think we should discuss it in front of the children.
Speaking of the children, Michael.
Yes, speaking of children, Douglas, why don't you tell all the parents out here tonight how it is that your mother used to keep you from getting up too early and waking her up on Christmas morning?
Oh, my mother found that a hot cup of cocoa 30 minutes before bedtime did the trick.
Right, but she had her own recipe, right? She didn't use that Carnation Instant Mix.
Oh, no. She had her own recipe. She used a cup of hot milk, a cup of some unsweetened cocoa mix, and this is where she did something a little bit different. She didn't use sugar. She used artificial sweetener, about a half a dozen little mini marshmallows, a half a teaspoon of vanilla, and a half a teaspoon of granulated Valium.
Valium?
Yeah, Valium. Well, a lot of people today use Xanax, but it does the same thing. Kids sleep right till noon.
When you finally did get up, Douglas, what did little Dougie hope to find under the Christmas tree? I mean, like when you were like 5 years old, what was your favorite Christmas gift?
Barbie.
So typical, Barbie.
And what was your favorite gift, Michael?
Barbie. Well, what about like when you were 8 years old?
Barbie's dream house.
And when you were 10?
Malibu Ken.
Gonna have to agree with you there. That tan line was pretty exciting, if you ask me. Problem is, I kept pulling Ken's pants down and comparing myself to the doll, and for years I thought I was deformed.
I've seen you in the dressing room, Michael. You really should have that looked at.
God damn. See, you are trying to lure me into using words that will get us in trouble.
Well, then why don't you just introduce our very special guest?
Good idea. We knew that we could only stay out here for a limited amount of time before we pissed off all the parents, so we thought we'd fill out the remainder of our time by inviting a very special and very popular guest star to join us on stage, someone who we know without question will light up the faces of all the children in the audience.
It's someone that loves children, and we know it's someone that the children love.
And it was not easy to get him to free up his schedule at this busy time of the year and make a very, very special pre-Christmas, look at, she's clapping, she's so excited, make this very special, once-in-a-lifetime pre-Christmas appearance.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're very pleased. Kids, get ready. Here he is.
Michael Jackson. What's the problem, Michael?
Sorry, kids. Mr. Jackson has been removed from the building in handcuffs from the little boys' room. I'm so sorry.
So now what are we going to do?
Well, the only thing we really know how to do, I guess.
Go to the bar and get drunk?
That'll do it.
Let's do
Merry
it.
Christmas,
Merry
everybody.
Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, Wanzie and Doug.
Okay, what does Christmas mean to you?
Oh,
Lots of
presents.
drinking.
Yeah, drinking.
I've been hungover for a week.
Oh, yeah, he has been.
Yeah. Huh?
The TP's intentional.
Yeah. The TP?
Toilet paper.
Oh, yeah.
It's trying to be polite.
Oh, okay.
We're on TV, man.
Yeah, we're about to go on doing Chief and Snoogie for the raise for the mustard seed.
You know, there have been so many changes at Real Radio, I don't know if you've noticed, over the past year or so. And two gentlemen that we love dearly, and we know many of you do too, are with us tonight. Maybe you noticed their names on the program. Please welcome, from Louisiana, Chief and Snoogie.
How y'all are? I'm bleeding. I hate myself.
How y'all doing tonight, huh? Seemed like just a year ago we was up here doing this.
Wait. What's missing?
What's missing? Something missing. What you got?
A drummer. What? Where our drummer?
Oh!
Pork chop!
Pork chop! Get pork chop up here!
Pork chop! Come out here, boy! Yeah, you always playing around somewhere at the Xbox or something.
Get up in here.
This is my grandchildren. Y'all say hello to my grandchildren. Pork chop. He from Napoleonville, Louisiana.
Napoleonville, Louisiana. He come over here after the hurricane, and he's already a junior at Rollins College right now.
You gonna play drum for us?
Can we get a little guitar? No, I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. You ready?
We didn't practice that.
I forgot where we were
Your
playing.
shoe on the wrong foot, stupid. Oh. You stupid.
You stupid. Now I knew that was why my cone was hurting me up there. We got a song that we gonna sing for y'all, but we gonna break Pork Chop into show business here, and we gonna get Lou Pearlman or somebody else and take care of our act, and we going on the road. You know? Are you ready? Test out. Test out your instrument. Test it. There we go. Okay. Yeah.
Boy, gonna be a good musician one day.
Uh-huh. Are you ready? We're gonna do an old favorite for you.
Ooh, I'm hotting up in here.
Mm-hmm. Old favorite. You ready?
Ready?
Oh, you better watch out. You better not cry.
You better not pout, man. I'm gonna tell you why. Santa Claus is coming to my town.
He making a list. He checking it 2 times. If you bad, you only get some watermelon around. And Santa Claus is coming to my town. Oh, yeah.
He see you when you hunting. He see you when you fish.
When you fish.
He know you stealing that Playboy channel with your satellite dish. Woo!
And you better believe we got TiVo on that one.
He deaf.
You better watch out. You better not shout. If you get caught, your old lady throw you out. And Santa Claus is coming to my town.
Okay, saxophone solo.
Oh yeah.
See you when you're happy, but you know when you've been fussing.
When you fussing.
He see you going out late at night and you drinking that robot sitting. With some Miller High Life.
Cut with a little codeine. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I thought we was in the 70s.
2, 3,
You
9.
better. You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. Man, I'm gonna tell you why. Santa Claus is coming.
Woo, yeah.
Santa Claus is coming. Get down to the dirt. Santa Claus is coming to my town. Yeah. Yay! How about one for Pork Chop? Give it up for Pork Chop right here. Pork Chop. Uh-huh. Yeah, it's good. Now, we're going to do a song right now because Chief and Snoogie been doing Santa Claus Coming to My Song Christmas song every year. And this year we decided we're going to do one for everybody. So we're going to change. We're going to become Jews this year. That's right. We are.
We gonna open up meat stove.
Yeah, we got a meat stove, and we're gonna open up, and we changing our name to Chief and Shecky. And
so nobody feel left out.
No, nobody feel left out. We'll work on Kwanzaa next year. But anyway, here, are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. You ready?
Yeah. We just wrote this. Hold on, in crayon. Here we go.
Who that?
Well, when he come out here, we be sure and tell him. Thank you, baby. All right.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. Now, this goes out once again to the Jews people and us, because that's us, Chief and Shecky, whatever. All right, you ready?
Well, happy Heineken, it's the time we choose. A happy, happy time of year for little girls and Jews.
Gifts and toys for 8 long days. We are so excited. It's just like regular Christmas time, except Jesus wasn't invited. You ready? Yeah, that's okay. You ready?
So happy Heineken, cold and chilly weather, but not too cold for Christians and the Jews to come together.
We have Torahs and menorahs.
Y'all have trees and spices.
We welcome y'all into our stores.
And y'all pay the retail prices.
Yeah! Yeah. Hey, what's up? Okay, all right. Thank you. Hey, that's Tuttle right there. Give a big hand, Tuttle.
What's wrong?
Tuttle. Tuttle looked like one of those old squeeze nerds you used to be able to buy and everything. Oh, this say, it's from Moira. You say, hey, stupid. I guess that's you. Stupid, it say it's not Heineken, it's, what's that word? C-H? Oh, well, she must know. She belongs. Come on, here we go. You ready? Let's just sing it like that, okay?
All right.
Here we go. Sorry, we made a mistake. Moira pointed out. Here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Happy Chinooka Nooka, happy Chinooka Nooka, happy, that's for sure. 'Cause we get toys for 8 days after you get tired of yours. Candles on the mantelpiece, lamb is on the smoker. And dreidel is our gambling game, but it ain't as fun as poker. Yeah. Happy Chinooka Nooka, happy Chinooka Nooka, happy Chinooka Nooka. Look kind. Thank you.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and Happy Chinooka Nooka.
Merry Christmas. Good to see all you peoples.
Performance reviews. We'll get nervous after a few years.
I do. Yes. I'm very nervous.
I do want to take just a moment and thank the Hard Rock Live and their staff. For those of you who are here for the first time, you should know that each year the staff donates the time, all of their time on a Sunday evening. And that's the sound guys, the lighting guys, these gentlemen right here, the people that greeted you at the door, the ticket office, the bartenders, the waiters. They donate their time, and Hard Rock Live donates this beautiful venue to us each year, so we thank them from the bottom of our hearts. Well, how about some stories? Let's do some Christmas stories, shall we? Reading Twas the Night Before Christmas from the Phillips file, Jana Banana.
"'Twas the Night Before Christmas" by Clement Clark Moore. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below. When what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet and Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my hand and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke, it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim ere he rode out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night."
From the Phillips File, Jana Banana. You know, very often when you go to, quote, charity events, a large amount of the proceeds go to actually pay for the event. And when Jim Phillips created the Christmas Carol, it was very important to him and became very important to all of us that if you guys were going to spend the money you did on a ticket, that money go where you intended, in this case, the mustard seed. So we want to thank Singular Wireless and Tropical Smoothie Cafe this evening, because thanks to their generosity in underwriting our event, every dollar spent here this evening will go to the families in our community.
I always get a little bit of the jitters, but I think that's good. It's healthy. I read The Grinch, so it's right up my alley.
One of the many high points of the evening, and certainly one for the children that are in the audience, both at home listening on the radio and here with us tonight, is our next reading. Doing the Grinch, How the Grinch Stole Christmas from the Phillips File. Please welcome Moira.
Either this chair is getting bigger or I'm shrinking. My feet don't even touch. How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one knows quite the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, Grinchy frown at the warm-lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. "They're hanging their stockings," he snarled with a sneer. "Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here." Then he growled, with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming, "I must find a way to stop Christmas from coming." For tomorrow he knew all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early, they'd rush for their toys, and then, oh the noise, 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 noise. That's the one thing he hated, the noise, 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 noise. Then the Who's young and old would sit down to a feast. And they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, 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 feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which is something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing. They'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming, but how? Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do, the Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled and clucked, what a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max. Then he took some red thread and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some empty old sacks on a ramshackle sleigh and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, get up! And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All the windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care when he came to the first little house on the square. This is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who's stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present, pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn, and plums, and he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimbley. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out the icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up the tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove when he heard a small sound, like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why? But you know, the old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie and he thought it up quick. Why, my sweet little tot, the fake Santa Claus lied. There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there and I'll bring it back here. And his fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head and he got her a drink and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 15:15 dawn, all the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze when he packed up his sled, packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings, 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet. He rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the Who's, he was Grinchishly humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up, I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo. "That's a noise," grinned the Grinch, "that I simply must hear." So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear, and he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow, but the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes, then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville, they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with the load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. The end. Happy holidays.
Ladies and gentlemen, Moira. Everybody having a good time? One of our favorite parts of the night is our next reading. It's a beautiful story, and I will let its narrator introduce it. Please welcome Jim Phillips to read The Gift of the Magi.
We always try to have fun. A little nerve-wracking, a little bit nervous out there, but it's always fun. It's always fun when it's for a good cause.
We have to do that Edith Ann thing again. Anyone care for an Altoid? Why I brought these out, I don't know. If you listen to the program, you know when I do the program, my pants are undone. They're not down, they're just undone. But I'll spare you the embarrassment this evening. I'll keep them buckled. Thank you for being back with us again this year. This story by O. Henry was written about 1900, 1905, and it really is a story about a husband and a wife who sacrifice possessions, their treasured possessions, so they can buy each other a Christmas present. And for those of you who have never heard the story, welcome. And for those of you who have been here in the past and have heard this story, welcome back. This is The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry. $1.87, that was all. And 60 cents of it was in pennies. Pennies saved 1 and 2 at a time by bulldozing the grocer and the vegetable man and the butcher until one's cheeks burned with the silent imputation of parsimony that such close dealing implied. 3 times Della counted it, $1.87. And the next day would be Christmas. There was clearly nothing to do but flop down on the shabby little couch and howl. So Della did it, which instigates the moral reflection that life is made up of sobs, sniffles, and smiles, with sniffles predominating. While the mistress of the home is gradually subsiding from the first stage to the second, take a look at the home. A furnished flat at $8 per week. It did not exactly beggar description, but it certainly had that word on the lookout for the poor squad. In the vestibule below was a letter box into which no letter would go, and an electric button from which no mortal finger could coax a ring. Also appertaining thereunto was a card bearing the name Mr. James Dillingham Young. The Dillingham had been flung to the breeze during a former period of prosperity when its possessor was being paid $30 per week. Now, when the income was shrunk to $20, the letters of Dillingham looked blurred, as though they were thinking seriously of contracting to a modest and unassuming D. But Whenever Mr. James Dillingham Young came home and reached his flat above, he was called Jim, and greatly hugged by Mrs. James Dillingham Young, already introduced to you as Della. Della finished her cry and attended to her cheeks with the powder rag. She stood by the window and looked out dully at a gray cat walking a gray fence in a gray backyard. Tomorrow would be Christmas Day, and she had only $1.87 with which to buy Jim a present. She'd been saving every penny she could for months with this result. $20 a week doesn't go far. Expenses had been greater than she had calculated. They always are. Only $1.87 to buy a present for Jim. Her Jim. Many a happy hour she had spent planning for something nice for him, something fine and rare and sterling, something just a little bit near to being worthy of the honor of being married to Jim. Now there was a pier glass between the windows of the room. Perhaps you have seen a pier glass in an $8 flat. A very thin and very agile person may, by observing his reflection in a rapid sequence of longitudinal strips, obtain a fairly accurate conception of his looks. Della, being slender, had mastered the art. Suddenly, she whirled from the window and stood before the glass. Her eyes were shining brilliantly, but her face had lost its color within 20 seconds. Rapidly, she pulled down her hair and let it fall to its full length. Now, there were two possessions of the James Dillingham Youngs in which they both took a mighty pride. One was Jim's gold watch that had been his father's and his grandfather's. The other was Della's hair. Had the Queen of Sheba lived in the flat across the air shaft, Della would have let her hair hang out the window someday to dry just to depreciate Her Majesty's jewels and gifts. Had King Solomon been the janitor with all his treasures piled up in the basement, Jim would have pulled out his watch every time he passed just to see him pluck at his beard from envy. So now Della's beautiful hair fell about her, rippling and shining like a cascade of brown waters. It reached below her knee and made itself almost a garment for her. Then she did it up again nervously and quickly. Once she faltered for a minute and stood still while a tear or two splashed on the worn red carpet. On went her old brown jacket, on went her old brown hat, with a whirl of skirts and the brilliant sparkle still in her eyes. She fluttered out the door and down the stairs to the street. Where she stopped, the sign read, Madame Sofronie, hair goods of all kinds. One flight up Della ran and collected herself, panting. Madame, large, too white, chilly, hardly looked the Sofronie. Will you buy my hair? Asked Della. I buy hair, said Madame. Take your hat off and let's have a sight at the looks of it. Down rippled the brown cascade. $20, said Madame, lifting the mass with a practiced hand. Give it to me quick, said Della. On the next 2 hours' trip to buy on rosy wings, forget the hashed metaphors, she was ransacking the stores for Jim's present. She found it at last. It surely had been made for Jim and no one else. There was no other like it in any of the stores, and she had turned all of them inside out. It was a platinum fob chain, simple and chaste in design, properly proclaiming its value by substance alone and not by meretricious ornamentation, as all good things should do. It was even worthy of the watch. As soon as she saw it, she knew that it must be Jim's. It was like him, quietness and value. The description applied to both. $21 they took from her for it, and she hurried home with the 87 cents. With that chain on his watch, Jim might be properly anxious about the time in any company. Grand as the watch was, he sometimes looked at it on the sly on account of the old leather strap that he used in place of a chain. When Della reached home, her intoxication gave way a little to prudence and reason. She got out her curling irons and lighted the gas and went to work repairing the ravages made by generosity added to love, which is always a tremendous task, dear friends, a mammoth task. Within 40 minutes, her hair was covered with tiny, close-lying curls that made her look wonderfully like a truant schoolboy. She looked at her reflection in the mirror, long, carefully, and critically. If Jim doesn't kill me, she said to herself, before he takes a second look at me, he'll say I look like a Coney Island chorus girl, but what could I do, oh, what could I do with $1.87? At 7 o'clock, the coffee was made, and the frying pan was on the back of the stove, hot and ready to cook the chops. Jim was never late. Della doubled the fob chain in her hand and sat on the corner of the table near the door that he always entered. Then she heard his step on the stair away down on the first flight, and she turned white for just a moment. She had a habit of saying little silent prayers about the simplest everyday things, and now she whispered, "Please, God, make him think I am still pretty." The door opened, and Jim stepped in and closed it. He looked very thin and very serious, poor fellow. He was only 22, and to be burdened with a family, he needed a new overcoat, and he was without gloves. Jim stopped inside the door, as immovable as a setter at the scent of quail. His eyes were fixed upon Della, and there was an expression in them that she could not read, and it terrified her. It was not anger, nor surprise, nor disapproval, nor horror, nor any of the sentiments that she had been prepared for. He simply stared at her fixedly with that peculiar expression on his face. Della wriggled off the table and went for him. "Jim, darling," she cried, "don't look at me that way. I had my hair cut off and sold it because I couldn't have lived through Christmas without giving you a present. It'll grow out again. You won't mind, will you? I just had to do it. My hair grows awfully fast. Say Merry Christmas, Jim, and let's be happy. You don't know what a beautiful, nice gift I've got for you." "You've cut off your hair?" asked Jim laboriously, as if he had not arrived at that patent fact yet, even after the hardest mental labor. "Cut it off and sold it," said Della. "Don't you like me just as well anyhow? I'm me without my hair, ain't I?" Jim looked about the room curiously. "You say your hair is gone?" he said with an air almost of idiocy. "You needn't look for it," said Della. "It's sold, I tell you, sold and gone, too. It's Christmas Eve, boy. Be good to me, for it went for you. Maybe the hairs of my head were numbered," she went on with a sudden serious sweetness. "But nobody could ever count my love for you. Shall I put the chops on, Jim?" Out of his trance, Jim seemed quickly to wake. He enfolded his Della. For 10 seconds, let us regard with discreet scrutiny some inconsequential object in the other direction. $8 a week or $1 million a year, what is the difference? A mathematician or a wit would give you the wrong answer. The Magi brought valuable gifts, but that was not among them. This dark assertion will be illuminated later on. Jim drew a package from his overcoat pocket and threw it upon the table. "Don't make any mistake, Del," he said, "about me. I don't think there's anything in the way of a haircut or a shave or a shampoo that can make me like my girl any less, but if you'll unwrap that package, you may see why you had me going a while at first." White fingers and nimble tore at the string and paper, and then an ecstatic scream of joy, and then, alas, a quick feminine change to hysterical tears and wails necessitating the immediate employment of all the comforting powers of the Lord of the Flat. For there lay the combs, the set of combs, side and back, that Della had worshipped for long in a Broadway window. Beautiful combs, pure tortoiseshell, with jeweled rims, just the shade to wear in the beautiful, vanished hair. They were expensive combs, she knew, and her heart had simply craved and yearned over them without the least hope of possession. And now they were hers. But the tresses that should have adorned the coveted adornments were gone. But she hugged them to her bosom, and at length she was able to look up with dim eyes and smile and say, "My hair grows so fast, Jim." Then Della leaped up like a little singed cat. Jim had not yet seen his beautiful present. She held it out to him eagerly upon her open palm. The dull, precious metal seemed to flash with the reflection of her bright and ardent spirit. "Isn't it a dandy, Jim? I hunted all over town to find it. You'll have to look at the time 100 times a day. Now give me your watch. I want to see how it looks on it." Instead of obeying, Jim tumbled down on the couch and put his hands under the back of his head and smiled. "Del," said he, "let's put our Christmas presents away and keep them a while. They're too nice to use just at present. I sold the watch to get the money to buy your combs, and now suppose you put the chops on." The Magi, as you know, were wise men, wonderfully wise men, who brought gifts to the babe in the manger. They invented the art of giving Christmas presents, and being wise, their gifts were no doubt wise ones, possibly bearing the privilege of exchange in case of duplication. And here I have lamely related to you the uneventful chronicle of two foolish children in a flat who most unwisely sacrificed for each other the greatest treasures of their house. But in a last word to the wise of these days, let it be said that of all who give gifts, these two were the wisest. Of all who give and receive gifts, such as they are wisest everywhere. They are wisest. They are the Magi. That is The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry. Thank you.